you don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have it all figured out. And I think young people are really hard on themselves because maybe they don't have it all figured out, and maybe their friends seem like they have it all figured out. They're graduating on time, they get the great internship, they get the job, and people feel like they're behind. You're not behind.
Hey Wildcats, I hope your day is coming along well. Welcome to today's episode of UAZ Podcast. And my name is Seliat and I'm here with my colleague
Rebecca Ursule
and Nicole Camacho.
On today's episode, we have a special guest in our midst, is Eric Majchrzak, and is the CEO and Chairman of BeachFleischman, Arizona's largest locally owned CPA and advisory firm. He is a top 200 largest CPA firm in the US, and prior to his appointment as a CEO, he used to be the firm's chief marketing and strategy officer. And we're going to be learning more from his experiences, his stories today. So the first question is going to be, as the CEO and the chairman of this company, what opportunities do you believe students can actively start seeking out right from now that they're in school, before they leave school? What opportunities do you think they can apply for or attend to be able to become a better person when they leave school?
Sure, I would say specifically, well, first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm delighted to be here, and I'm excited about the conversation we're about to have. Certainly in the accounting profession, in advisory, I would say the path is a bit more structured. So an accounting major, if you want to be a CPA or an accountant, prior to graduating, it looks good if you're a student and you apply for internships. That's usually your junior or your senior year. And so a lot of accounting firms really around the country have very structured internship programs. So getting into an internship, I would say, is pretty important. In addition to that, other ways that students can prepare for a career in accounting or advisory would be to get involved in some of the professional organizations within your university. I know there are accounting clubs. There's other things you can do. I know there are professional networking groups in town. For example, Tucson Young Professionals would be a great organization for people to get involved in, even while they're still in school. Just to start building your network of contacts in the community, because eventually, as your career starts to advance in public accounting and advisory, you start building these connections in the community, and then eventually those connections become decision makers at businesses, and then those decision makers are the ones who purchase or engage accounting firms for services. So if you start your network earlier, even before you actually get into your career, you're well positioned to be successful.
I like what you said about building network from right from when you start in school, before you leave school, and then you're able to build more connections and then meet with people. Was there any time when you were in school, because I know you have a bachelor's in business and advertising, so were there good associations that you joined that beauty hope for this profession that you're in right now?
There weren't as many back then. There were certainly clubs in college. I did do an internship when I was in college, and it was at an advertising agency in Buffalo, New York. That's where I'm originally from. So, and I learned a lot there. I learned how accounts are managed. So advertising agencies work with businesses. I shadowed account representatives. I spent some time in the creative department. They would send me off to run errands to local TV and radio stations to deliver. Back then, there wasn't a lot of digital. You would actually have to deliver your commercials on a cassette tape and bring it to the studio. So I did, in that sense, I got involved when I was going to be a business and advertising major in an internship, and it did position me well when I graduated to, gave me some level of experience and expectation of what a professional environment was like.
You are from Buffalo, New York. What made you come to Tucson and stay here?
Great question. So in New York State, I was working at another accounting firm, a large accounting firm. New York State had a very specific requirement that if you were going to be an owner in an accounting firm or a partner, you had to have your CPA license. There was no exception. And so I could not become a partner in my firm that I was at because I was capped, because I'm not an accountant by trade. So Arizona did not have that restriction. So I was recruited by BeachFleischman back in 2012.
Yeah.
They wanted to hire me as a chief marketing officer, which I moved my family across the country, started at Beach, and that's what I did. I became their chief marketing officer, and then shortly after I joined the firm, they made me a partner, a shareholder in the company. So that was really the reason. It was, well, not only for professional reasons, but I mean, let's face it, you're living in the snow in Buffalo compared to the nice, weather like right now in Arizona. It's gorgeous out. So that was part of it too, was a lifestyle change.
So what inspired you to go into the accounting sector specifically? Because there were other sectors and you were doing your great communication services and stuff, but you chose specifically working for accounting firms, not any other firm.
Truthfully, it was quite by accident. So when I was you don't become a business or let's say a marketing major to work at an accounting firm necessarily.
Yeah, you can
right?
work
It's
for any
considered
other
as
firm,
kind of boring or whatever. Not the case. That's literally not the case. It is actually very exciting. But I just kind of fell into it by accident. There was a job posting. I applied for it. I had no idea that you could make a career out of being a marketing professional in an accounting firm until I got that first job in Buffalo at that firm. And this was more than 20 years ago. And if you think about what was going on, let's say 23 years ago, the internet was really just starting to take shape and form. Google wasn't even a household name yet. There was no social media. These were all emerging technology platforms. So as a marketing person, when I got to that firm in Buffalo, I was like, wow, there's so much opportunity. And that's what kept me in the profession. Because most accounting firms back then, in the early 2000s, were playing it very safe with marketing. So I promptly got our firm into digital, enhanced the website, was starting to generate leads through the firm website, and I was able to monetize our back then, a very early generation digital presence.
So would you say it's important to be open-minded, since sometimes when we're young, we're like, I'm just going to be this and it has to be that. So would you say like it's important for us to be open-minded to new opportunities?
Yes, this is one of my primary areas of advice I give to college students is your career path is actually not going to be that linear. Think about it more as a 3D opportunity. So let's say you are interested in getting into the healthcare field. Put the accounting stuff aside. Maybe you're just interested in getting into the healthcare field. Okay, so you have some decisions to make. You can be a practitioner, a doctor, where you're patient-facing, right? Maybe so that's the healthcare practitioner side. Maybe you could be somebody in that healthcare practice that's actually running the business of the practice. There's another opportunity. Maybe you're somebody who wants to sell medical devices into that practice. So there's a different opportunity. Maybe you want to work for an accounting firm that specializes in serving medical practices. So you see there's all these different opportunities, even if it's just an industry, that you just have to keep an open mind, keep your eyes open. You can find these opportunities. If it's real estate, maybe there's a real estate firm that just focuses on selling office space to medical practices, or a construction company that just works in the healthcare field. So you can see all these opportunities. So I would encourage everybody to really look at, if you do have diverse interests, that is something, that's a great mindset to have.
Yeah, I think that's wonderful advice, especially taking opportunities early on so you know what you like, what you don't like. So I think gaining that experience will truly help you to decide what you want to do in the future.
Yes, you're not supposed to have it all figured out when you're just coming out. You're just not. And part of the fun of once you graduate, you get your degree, even if you're not getting a degree in college, is to figure out what you don't like.
Yeah.
And the only way you can do that is taking some risks and trying different things out. That's just as important as finding out what you do like. I mean, so that way, I mean, you are the captain of your ship. So you can determine, geez, I like this aspect of this career, but I don't like this other part. So you can write your own story.
Yes, so you have been recognized as one of accounting's today's top 100 most influential people and inducted into the Association of Accounting Marketing Hall of Fame. What lessons from your journey would you want students to take away as they begin to build their resume?
Good question. So this kind of ties back to what I was saying about working at my former firm and the early internet days. I started doing a lot of speaking at conferences to show accounting firms how to harness the power of the web. I started getting invites to conferences. I started joining national organizations like the Association for Accounting Marketing, started volunteering, became board members of some of these organizations.
Yeah.
And what that taught me was that it brought a level of credibility. The national credibility I gained by being part of those organizations, I was able to translate to local influence and credibility at the firm I was working at. So when you do get involved, and it doesn't have to be a national organization, it could be a local chapter of a national organization or just a local professional organization, getting involved outside of your workplace in those groups are really critical to your development and success. You get a different perspective. You meet people from diverse backgrounds. And those people that you meet at those organizations become your colleagues throughout your career, friends even. And you can call on them when you have questions. So it's always good to have some outside perspective in your career beyond the people who are your coworkers, I would say. But that, we look at resumes a lot, and young students who are involved often make it to the top of the list because it shows that they have a passion for what they're doing, that they are taking their career seriously, and they come with different perspectives and experience.
So besides getting involved, because I know you, like you mentioned, you've looked at so many resumes, I think over hundreds of thousands of those, and you usually interview a lot of candidates. So what do you really specifically look in when you're hiring students or people who are new to the industry? Because what I know is some students really have great qualifications, but they may not necessarily have the chance to get involved in the community. So what else do you look besides that?
So in the accounting profession, I mean, it's definitely a nice, well put together, orderly, grammatically correct resume, because remember, accountants are very detail oriented, and they are the first people to point out mistakes in a resume, right? Because that's their job. That's what they're hired to do. They're hired to find discrepancies and mistakes. So that's the mindset of accountants typically. So a nice, clean resume. And in terms of, let's say when they come to interview, clear communication skills, good writing skills, being prompt and on time, because we have to meet deadlines. So that's very important. And I would say just even the personal touch, being able to have a conversation, a firm handshake, eye contact when you're talking with somebody, and then the follow-up I think is important too. So believe it or not, the old school handwritten thank you note goes a long way, because we get a lot of emails. I mean, I get hundreds and hundreds of emails every day. And to just have an email come in that says thank you, it's okay. That's good. But to actually have a thank you card that shows up the next day, I'm going to read that no matter what. Because it's so, I mean, just small little personal touches like that are really important. But I would say the ability to communicate is definitely something that accounting firms look at, because eventually your job is going to be dealing with business owners. And so we
analyzing different policies
and analyzing strategy, making recommendations, doing strategic planning with them. And that requires clear communication.
So it's more of like you're selling like your ideas, and since you're advising different firms, you're really like helping them to see things in a different direction. So you have to be able to ensure that they trust your services and what you're doing in the company overall.
Yeah, the trust is critical.
Yeah.
It's the cornerstone of our profession, and without it, business owners won't engage us. So that trust has to be built with a personal relationship first, and then they hire the firm to come in.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's very important.
I know your firm is one of the top firms in Arizona and also among the 100, like what Nicole said. So like, how did you achieve that? Like, do you get enough time to sleep, to rest? Or are you always working and researching and meeting new people, because you come from the marketing background? So it teaches you a lot, like, to be out there in the community, to meet different people, and like to just be able to have kind of like an eye opening. So it requires a lot of time and requires a lot of personal passion into the business. So how do you achieve that?
Well, I give all the credit to our founding partners. There were 5 of them when they founded BeachFleischman in 1990. Very community oriented. All of the partners at that time, all of them were heavily involved in the community.
Yeah.
They sat on boards. They did. In fact, our founder, Bruce Beach, was also the co-founder of the Festival of Books, which is held here on campus. So that just goes to show you, like, there was an accountant involved in bringing that to this community. So it's culturally in our firm, it's an expectation if you work for BeachFleischman that you get involved in a professional organization, for maybe a charity or something that you have a passion with, and the firm supports you in that cause. Whether it's, if it's at a fundraising dinner, we contribute towards that. But we really, in some cases, our professionals' bonuses are dependent on their involvement in the community. So we actually tie monetary goals to their involvement. So very important. That's what really started growing the firm, was our active involvement in the community, and then uncovering opportunities with all the people we've met. So big part of the culture was that. And then I would say, we've done a real good job at bringing talent into the firm that was driven to help grow the firm. So that's on the recruiting side, the talent identification side. And then just our structure. I mean, we have a full-blown marketing department. I think we have a team of 5. We have a web developer, a graphic designer, marketing coordinator, marketing supervisor, and they run campaigns to generate leads through the web. We do seminars, we do webinars, we do content marketing. So that's really important in helping the firm grow. But the vast majority of the growth at BeachFleischman is referrals from our existing clients. So our people do a great job serving clients, and then our current clients recommend us to someone else. And that's by far the number one source of our growth.
Yeah, that's great. So that means like you're building a trust in the community and whoever you serve.
Right.
I know you talked more about like the community aspect. So like when you're hiring your employees, are you always very critical about whom you hire to the company? Must they have qualifications when it comes to the community-oriented people? Like, are you always like very critical about that?
No. I mean, we're hiring more than just accountants. We're hiring people who have finance majors, obviously marketing majors, and other types of backgrounds, because firms are changing. And I'll just give you a sense of this. Yes, we're a public accounting firm. There's accounting and tax and auditing and bookkeeping at the core of everything we do. But we're getting into advisory more and more. So, I mean, we do cybersecurity. We do all these other things where we're hiring people with different backgrounds and different disciplines. So some of those folks can be, I'll say, very technical, highly technical, and others might be more relationship driven. So we do look for a mix.
A balance,
a balance of that, and backgrounds as well. Our firm is, I think, 60% of our partners, our owners, are women. And I'd say similar with the entire employee base, which is very unique for a large firm of our size. So we are, we work hard at trying to bring the best and brightest into the firm.
I wish someone told me this early on when I
Yeah.
started my bachelor's degree. And I know there are so many students out there who are also hard on themselves, and they would like someone to tell them that you don't have to have it all figured out. You can fail, it's okay to fail. But the thing is, don't fail and then just sit down there.
Yeah.
Get up and then do something else to
Yeah.
make yourself a better person.
You don't have to have all the answers. You don't have to have it all figured out. And I think young people are really hard on themselves because maybe they don't have it all figured out, and maybe their friends seem like they have it all figured out.
Yeah.
They're graduating on time, they get the great internship, they get the job, and people feel like they're behind. You're not behind. Everybody goes at their own pace and really focus on your own path. And you don't have to have it all figured out. I would just say, jump in and just try different things, and then doors will open for you. I mean, you didn't know how to ride a bike before you rode a bike. It's the same kind of idea. You just jump in and try different things, and keep your eyes and ears open for. You have to be good at recognizing when doors open. You also have to be good at, I would say, taking some risks. It's okay to take a risk, and it's okay to fail too, because that's how you learn. So, I mean, yeah, there's plenty of stories of failure in my background, but it's a learning lesson every time something like that happens, and then you learn from it and you build on it, and then another opportunity can come your way. But I would say it's okay to not have it all figured out. That's my piece of advice.
But that gives you lots of experience, and since you've worked in different industries and different businesses, it does adds up to so much. That makes you a great leader, because you've lived in so many small, and it's like those small dots are creating a very big puzzle, which is helping out the community here in Arizona, not only Arizona but also like in other places and other farms, just because you went through that experience. And sometimes in life, like, we want everything to be figured out, which is not great, because you can go up to the top, and if you didn't build a very strong foundation, you may fall down. So you need all of those things to help you build a very strong foundation.
Everybody's path is going to be different, and I picked up bits and pieces of lessons from every sector I worked in and brought it to BeachFleischman. So I do feel like I have a well-rounded background. But some people may get it right out of the gate too, and that's okay too. But it's not required, and it's not necessary.
Your story is so inspiring to me, because I want to do so many things.
Yeah.
In the future, I'm all like, I want to be a zookeeper, I want to be a lawyer, I want to do so many things. So it's very inspiring that you ended up successful, even though you had some different roads on the path. So
I guarantee you there are law firms out there that specialize in offering services to zoos, nonprofits and zoos. They're out there. I guarantee you. So maybe that's your path.
Yeah, maybe. So connections is one of the biggest parts of getting a job, especially in corporate. So what kind of advice do you have students to get better connections, especially now, because it seems easier now in this generation because we do have social media, we have LinkedIn, but it doesn't feel like genuine connections. So what advice would you give students?
Yeah, those tools are important. They can be good tools. So like LinkedIn, if you are involved in clubs on campus, if you're in a sorority or a fraternity, when you're filling out your LinkedIn profile, make sure all that goes on your profile, because then what you can do is you can use the search function to find a professional already employed somewhere in a company here in Tucson or anywhere, and say, we were both in the same fraternity, sorority. Would you be willing to have coffee with me to explain what a career in your business or your company looks like? I guarantee you they will say yes to that. I don't think I've ever turned down a student who has asked to either pick my brain or maybe grab a coffee to talk about careers. resumes that come my way, we have an HR department and we get so many that come in. I tend to pass those to the HR department. But when people reach out to me directly through LinkedIn or through an email, and they just say they want to connect over coffee, I'm there. I mean, that's hard. That's hard for an executive to turn down.
So, for students that are listening, what's one way you can advise them to manage rejections? Because if you keep applying to a particular internship or for a particular job and then you keep getting rejection letters, though you're good, but like you're not able to present yourself well, maybe, and then you keep getting rejection, what's the advice you'd give the person to not give up? Because I'd experienced that kind of thing before. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just going to give up.
Yeah. No, that's understandable. So having a sales background like I had, all the good sales trainers used to tell us the best salespeople are the ones who have been rejected the most, the ones who have been told no the most, because it is somewhat of a numbers game. Even though they've been told the most or told no the most, because they're so active, they also get the most wins. So, yes, you're going to get rejections with your resumes, but kind of understand that it's not personal, it's a numbers game. And instead of just sending 10 resumes out, I guarantee you if you send 50, you might get 3 to 5 interviews as opposed to 1 or 2 interviews. I know that sounds like a tall task to send out that, but the more knocks on doors that you do, the more successful you be, but by definition, the more rejection you're going to get. So just know that's part of the process.
Yeah, but I feel like also the rejections, you don't have to take it so personal. Just like if they have rejected you, go and learn something. Maybe it's teaching you to see ways in a different direction. And then when you get rejected, you learn and become better. And that's why most people who are rejected are always the most successful people on the planet. Just because they don't give up, they keep on learning and learning until they make it to the top.
Yeah, sometimes you can ask a hiring manager, what were the reasons why I didn't make it to the next level or make the interview. They won't all respond to it, but some will, and they might give you some constructive advice. So you kind of need to know that. You may not know. They may recognize something though that they think you could work on or improve, and it's okay to ask them.
And also, like on the mentorship side, as you were growing into your career, into your business, did you have mentorship or mentors who help you gain some like real life experiences?
100%. Yeah, 100%. I have a close group of people that have really taken me under their wing throughout my career. Both inside the companies I've worked at and outside, and some for different reasons. So I do have a handful of people that I go to consistently, even today, to get some advice, and that's super important. And in turn, I mentor a lot of younger professionals because I like to give back in that sense, to share my lessons with them. Some in formal arrangements and some in informal arrangements, but I think that's super important to have that guidance. Right? Somebody who can lend you an ear, somebody who you can run ideas by, that's maybe not necessarily in your company, outside the company. It could be a family member, it could be a friend, it could be a professor that really made an impact on you. So that's super important too, for sure.
So yeah, for sure, that's great. I was just thinking about your farm. So it's one of a great farm, and it has been supporting so many businesses. So what is one of the farms that your farm has supported and you guys are proud of your service?
Well, we practice in industry specific verticals. So we have a nonprofit practice. We have so many good nonprofit clients in town that we're really proud of. And most of them, I would say, are small to mid-sized businesses, but we do have a handful of larger clients that are, that have been a cornerstone of the success of our firm for a long time. I can't give you specific names because that's privileged kind of information, client, confidential information.
Yeah, that's true.
But I can characterize them, certainly in the nonprofit sector, some of the main nonprofits here in the state have been longtime BeachFleischman clients. And some of the larger businesses here in town have been clients for 20, 30 years, you know. But it's interesting because we do practice in these industry specialties. We have a real estate practice, a manufacturing practice, a construction practice, a healthcare practice, a nonprofit practice, a cannabis practice. We work with dispensaries and growers around the country for cannabis. So I don't think accounting is boring. I think you could get into a firm our size and really have different experiences working with different types of businesses, and it's exciting.
That's great, because when I think about accounting, I always look at it in only one direction. It comes to bookkeeping, the money stuff. And that's all I think about accounting. But I'm glad that you guys are specialized in so many different things and helping different types of businesses.
I have a question about your leadership. So what kind of leadership style do you adopt? Is it like a transformational leader or a servant leader? Because I know people management is a lot, and you have to have like a good people management skill to be able to handle so many employees. So what's your leadership style? What kind of leadership style do you adopt?
So I actually did adopt more of a servant mindset with leadership, and I do think I approach it as a service to my partners, to our clients. I think that's the healthiest mindset, I think, as an executive leader you can have. I would definitely say more transformational in nature. I do like looking ahead of the curve to see where the world is going and then figuring out what does our company need to look like in the next 5 to 10 years, and what types of changes do we need to implement now in order to be relevant into the future. So I think another part of my style would be frequent communication of the vision and mission of the firm, almost to the point where it's so repetitive, people roll their eyes at me kind of thing. But I'm always getting our strategic plan in front of our employees, in front of the partners, the owners. They participate in the creation of that plan. And I think that continuous message of where we're heading is super important, because people want to know what their role can be in achieving that mission. They want to figure out where they fit in. And if you're always talking about where you're headed, I think that motivates people. Like they can have a stake in the success of the firm. So transparency on the mission, vision, values is super important.
I think one key thing that I learned from what you said is like participatory leadership. So like when you're bringing people along, they feel more motivated to be able to do the job. Because if you don't bring everybody along to the board, you don't bring everybody on board, some people would feel, okay, maybe it doesn't need me, and then they just sit back. But if you're able to like bring everybody on board and then tell people, okay, this is how you fit in this in future, and that's really good.
The why of what we're doing, you need to answer that. Why are we doing what we're doing? And I think the kiss of death for a lot of companies is workers, employees who feel disconnected from their job, from their work, or why they're even doing what they're doing. They just come in, they just, robotically just do this stuff. You have to keep them connected with the mission of the company. That's what gets people out of bed every morning. That's what makes them feel accomplished. That's even what gives them their sense of value. So constantly communicating that is very important. I learned that from the marketing side. Frequency of message, you've got to get that message in front of people X amount of times before that really sinks in.
So like you're doing a great job in helping the organization or the farmers as a role, like to play their parts and constantly reminding them and helping them. So like, who inspires you besides your mission and everything? Like, what makes you do this job, and what makes you like helping and supporting the community? Because you're supporting others and you're there like to remind them every day. So who reminds you, like what's that one thing that like motivates you to do this job?
It's the people I work with. It's watching them evolve and become successful. I mean, that is the most rewarding thing right there. It's watching somebody come in as an associate out of college, then they get their promotions, and then they make partner. It's incredible to watch that. And that's the rewarding part to me. is facilitating the success of others. So that's kind of my personal why too.
Yeah. So it's more of like a parent, the parents are always proud seeing their kids. You give birth to a child, they're now 5-year-old and they grow, they become responsible and also start their own families, and that's what gives joy to parents. And so I think your leadership is more of like a parental leadership where you're supporting and moving with everybody along the way.
Yeah, and it's just as important on the client side too. I mean, boy, we've had clients that joined the firm and they were so small when they started. And then they ended up becoming, hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue, and eventually they sold their business. Total success. It's hard to see because all of a sudden they're not a client anymore once they sell their business. But I mean, what a great success story to watch people become, watch them grow over a period of time, watch them become successful. And that's why I get out of bed every morning.
Being CEO means you have lots of discipline and you're a great leader. So what makes you stay grounded? Because CEOs and leaders have so much stress on themselves. So what makes you stay grounded and makes you relaxed in your free time?
I always work on, I'm always working on that, to stay grounded.
Yeah.
So having like a real good sense of awareness is key. I kind of have like a ritual I go through every morning. I do some, early morning like meditation. I kind of vision what my day is going to be. So doing that, certainly my family, my pets, my weekends keep me grounded, and I get recharged. And of course my faith does that. I think I couldn't do it without that sense of belonging and having a community. And so that's super important too. But because you get a lot coming at you.
That's true.
Since
Phone
you have
calls,
so many
emails,
employees.
and different things. And you do have to carve time out of your day to just be present.
Yeah, and
so
it's never talked about a lot. Like in your bio, it says you're one of the top largest CPA firms, but no one talks about the downsides of it being so stressed all the time. So it's a conversation worth speaking about.
yeah, we've been really good, I think, at our firm of recognizing that it can be stressful, especially certain times of the year. So we do all sorts of wellness activities. During our busiest seasons, we bring in, we give massages to our employees. We bring in outside services to do that. We bring in food. We do all these things, and that's in recognition that it can be stressful. But the health and wellness is super important. We have entire programs built around making sure that people have the resources that they need to maintain that balance.
Okay, so part of your bio, I noticed that you've made so many contributions into with your profession into digital and social media age.
Yeah.
So I want to ask a question about COVID. So prior to COVID, it was usually mostly in-person meetings. People communicate like in person, they meet up in a room and then talk. But post-COVID, everything is usually online, Zoom,
Right.
teleconferencing. So how has that impacted your firm positively or negatively? Like, do you believe that people really need to just sit in a room and have the conversation, or it's okay if we just join a Zoom meeting and then talk about it?
We took the hybrid approach, so we gave people options. If they wanted to work in the office full-time, they can. If they want to work a hybrid arrangement, they can. And if they want to work fully remote, they can.
Oh, that's good.
So we gave them that option. It certainly did change things. And yes, it was more of an in-person experience before. We would go out to see clients. Clients would come to our offices. So there was a lot of that face-to-face. There still is that, but now we've layered on the virtual aspect of what we do. It did enable us to really, though, I would say, extend our brand beyond Arizona.
Yeah.
So we have clients all over the world. And a lot of that is just due to our tech stack, our technology stack, how we serve clients. So we can bring on clients really anywhere. That really accelerated post-COVID. So we had to make sure, can we deliver this service in a virtual environment or can we not? And so we made decisions about transforming the delivery of our services to make sure we have the proper technology platforms to do that. And that really accelerated after COVID, so much so where January last year, we launched an innovation center within BeachFleischman, and it was designed to make sure that we're using the best tools possible, that we're innovating the business model, the client service delivery model. And so we have a team of people whose sole responsibility it is to constantly look at that and the client experience of that.
I'm glad that the post-COVID experience brought growth to the company.
Yeah,
it
Because
did.
you're now working like virtually and sometimes like fully remote. But I was gonna ask, like, when it comes to efficiency and the workload, when the employees are working like online or at home, how do you see like the efficiency? Is it the same as somebody who's working in person, or is there any variation at all?
I think it depends
Yeah.
on the person. Some have a different setup at home where they have more a quiet place to work, or they've got an office, and others don't.
Yeah.
So they do have the ability to come into the office if they want.
Yeah.
So yeah, efficiencies, the technology we're using are just bringing efficiencies more and more and more. And slowly you can see how, actually not so slowly, but you can see how automation and AI is really impacting
Yeah.
what we're doing
Yeah.
and making it so much more efficient. But you know, I think it depends on the
person,
individual.
yeah.
But by and large, we treat
Yeah.
people like adults.
Yeah.
If they want to work from home, they can work from home. They just have to deliver on what they promised to deliver.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming to the
Oh, of
UAZ
course.
podcast.
Yeah,
I think
my pleasure.
Yeah, this is one of our best episodes
Yeah,
so far.
because-
We are really glad that you were able to honor our invitation because you have a very, very busy schedule, and we are glad that we had to sit with you and learn from your experiences, because I'm sure many people will die to just meet you and talk to you. Yeah, but here we are learning from you personally, and so I know you talked about mentorship, and so you've been mentoring so many young people in the community, informal or arranged, but like you being here, that also helps us because that's how you're sharing your wisdom with us, and we are learning so much from you, and so we'll take most of your advice seriously.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I have two kids who one recently graduated college and one is still in college, so this topic is top of mind for me.